Managing people with a difference. I'm 77, and yes, I have accomplished a lot in my working and family life. But as many of my friends have told me, there's always a little unfinished business lying around to keep me out of trouble and boredom in my retirement. I thank you all, and especially my son, Roy Prasad, for giving me this responsibility to present my experiences and views. Over the years, I have watched many people grow older and wiser in their respective assignments and produce miracles in the business and commercial world. My learning process has been my association with them and their thinking. I know that you all are on that path, and many of you have already outshined to beat the odds that stood in front of you. Because, like me, you always planned ahead and had enough fun while the meter of life was running out. Ladies and gentlemen, as I have grown older, I have become a little more tolerant of situations and people. I try hard not to get frustrated with the things I cannot change. I'm in my mellowing years and at peace with myself, but I am not restless because, as I said before, there are a few things I have not been able to do yet. But don't get me wrong, I don't want to conquer the world or climb any high mountains or swim across the deep oceans. All I want to see in my lifetime are a few HR revolutions where we can have positive thinkers, more effective, efficient, organized, qualitative, and motivated workers in the commercial and industrial world. I'm confident that dedicated people like you will be able to help me achieve my objectives. You all are heroes. And always remember that we cannot spell the word hero without HR in it. Heroes, as you all know, have learned from their mistakes to be successful, and they have got a lot out of life by taking risks. Therefore, every time I stand before achievers and heroes like you, I get a lot of energy and enthusiasm for only one reason, and that is that our people are entrusted to in awfully experienced and good hands. My grandfather and father, who were dedicated farmers, told me that it is part of our heritage that every generation must leave the next one a little better off with a whole new set of challenges. Let us all promise to do this. I'm confident that 10 years from now, when you are old like me, you all will be ready to pass that bright torch of HR practices to the next generation. I wish you well, and now I'm happy to present a few of my own experiences of the business world that I had the opportunity to serve. So, my first question is, what causes an ambitious modern business organization like yours to come up short of its goals for quality and productivity? Rarely it is mechanics, engineering, electronics, or statistics. Corporate momentum is more often slowed by precisely the same forces that propel the organization forward. And they are our people. People are complicated, highly vulnerable, and intrinsically unpredictable. They are also essential to our accomplishing any meaningful business objective. For these reasons, the skills of interpersonal communication constitute the one component that is absolutely vital for our business direction. I believe that if we are able to acquire these specific HR tools and proper instruments strong enough, then together with our team, we can move mountains. Some of those HR instruments are appropriate and relevant skills, workable methodology, self-confidence and positive mental attitude, initiative to get up and go, ability to discover more and learn. These specific instruments are strong enough to enable us to develop a learning organization and provide us with the needed abilities to learn faster than our competitors. This is one way to manage our people with care and confidence, and it creates an advantage for our enterprise. We are fast becoming interconnected, and our businesses are becoming more complex, dynamic, and demanding. We can no longer live and work with the technology of the yesteryears. We all know that in the modern business world, the environment is fast becoming competitive. There is increasing economic uncertainty, and often we find reduced internal resources. Therefore, it is believed that the best trained organization will have the edge, and its people will have the needed skills to handle change and take the initiative to work towards a common goal termed survival. Now is the time to adequately prepare our people for the tough times ahead. I believe that our whole organization or enterprise needs to be in top gear for active learning. The organization that will truly excel in the future will be the one that discovers how to tap the full potential, commitment, capacity, and talent of our most vital resource, people. People. Therefore, by making active learning possible at all levels in the organization, we can produce and prepare a cadre of workers who become our most important resource. Our people will benefit from active learning if we promote positive learning attitude, enthuse everyone to participate actively, activate learning centers throughout the enterprise, practice multiple methods of learning, listen to and innovate, and learn from mistakes. Establish effective teams. We must always remember that we all are learners, intrinsically inquisitive, and so once we learn the skills to achieve peak performance, we can easily develop teams to combat all problems with greater ease and understanding. It all begins with the idea of self-awareness. I believe we cannot and we can no longer afford to have an organization that is dominated by a single, undisputed leader, as we have seen from many large previous enterprises. They all have gradually learned and started practicing active total group learning with teamwork to get together and to get greater success, productivity, performance, and profitability. I believe that we all can create and establish this chance or opportunity or learning environment for our own benefits to fundamentally improve the performance, participation, and practices of our people who work for us. These will automatically happen when we develop an effective learning organization where everyone participates and learns from each other and together. This was my contribution to a few traditional enterprises when I was asked to join them as their Director of Human Resource. As an educator of some 3 decades, I had learned from Peter M. Senge the use of 5 disciplines, but I added my 6th, that was proper practice makes us almost perfect. That was my art and practice of the learning organization, and so I was able to work tirelessly with the people to bring about the needed revolution and revised thinking to utilize the full potentials of the people who worked for us. All committed leaders of any successful enterprise can use and promote the art and practice of the learning organization by thinking seriously about systems, developing the idea of personal mastery, creating mental models, building shared vision, and team learning. I had to think about all the systems. I understood that all the businesses and the other human endeavors were also systems. The systems thinking was a conceptual framework, a body of knowledge and tools that enabled me to make the full patterns clearer and to help us see how to change them effectively and efficiently. Then there was the idea of personal mastery. By mastery, I do not mean domination over people and things, but mastery for me has been a special level of proficiency in everyone who worked for us, including me. People with high level of personal mastery become committed to their own lifelong learning and also promote the idea of learning organization. Mental models are deeply ingrained assumptions, generalizations, pictures, and images that influence us how to understand the world around us and how to take advantage or appropriate action for our own advantage. The discipline of working with mental models starts with turning the mirror inward, learning to unearth internal picture of the world, to bring them to the surface and hold them rigorously to scrutiny. It also includes our ability to carry on promoting learnable activities, to conduct useful conversations and discussions, and to balance inquiry and advocacy so that our people who work for us are able to expose their own thinking effectively and make them open to influence others as mentors. By building shared vision in our respective organizations, we can manage to bind people together around a common identity and sense of destiny. With a genuine vision for the future of the enterprise, our people can definitely excel and learn not because they are told to, but because they want to. When our personal visions are translated into shared visions, they galvanize and solidify our organization. Charismatic leaders would propagate their charisma if they willingly began to build the idea of shared vision to develop the new and attractive pictures and images of the future that foster genuine compliance. Then the idea of team building is as vital as the other arts and practices of our learning organization, because teams and not individuals are the fundamental learning unit of the modern organizations. The discipline of team learning starts from thinking together of all who are genuinely concerned with the improvement and progress of the enterprise, and healthy dialogue among and between the people and other discipline professional activities. We all know that the more we learn from our colleagues, the more acutely we become aware of our ignorance. This should never discourage us, because by becoming aware of our inadequacies, we begin to enhance our own learning further. But the 5 disciplines of learning in any organization can adequately succeed if they are developed and practiced as an ensemble, rather than applying them separately. Now, with this lengthy introduction, let me narrate my personal experiences with the few business organizations that I was asked to join as Director of Human Resource. I joined these business enterprises after serving as a successful educator for almost 3 decades. I boarded this new platform with experiences of teaching and learning activities in senior high schools and colleges, construction, development and evaluation of curriculum, and a lot of advisory work for teachers and other school staff. Hence, I was mindful and had a firm belief that the purpose of business and life was happiness. A happy worker for me was ready and eager to be productive, effective, and efficient. Such people at work had the initiative for peak performance. All these could then be achieved through systematic training and learning procedures in order to reshape the current, traditional, and dominant attitudes and outlook. I joined the organization with the view that the key to happiness of the enterprise was in the hands of the people who worked for the organization, but they needed motivation, encouragement, and guidance to make them good contributors. Upon agreeing to join the organization, I had a thorough discussion with the board of directors collectively and individually to gauge their expectation. After this, I went on a discovery mission to all the 50 locations of the organization. In my 4 weeks of research, discussions, discovery with the managers, supervisors, senior staff, and junior workers, I collected enough information to formulate my strategies and activities. My first task was to prepare a thorough job description of my position and get it approved by the board of directors. I carefully listed my research findings and analyzed them before reporting these with the board members, who were convinced and agreed with me to take the needed and necessary action I had planned to change the systems, strategies, management, and administration of people. I needed the support of the management to convince the people that I was not alone for this renewal program. It was no secret that we found that the company was facing a critical shortage of skills workers. The board of directors wanted to solve the problem of return on investment and save company money immediately and in the future. My brief was to develop an effective team to break such barriers as the fear of change, the fear of confrontation, and the need for control. With these demands on my shoulders, I began my assignment through various means: research, reading, professional discussion with colleagues, past experiences, and even sitting quietly to think of some workable ideas. These kinds of approaches were necessary to bring about the needed change. So, my objectives were contained in an 8-point star, which I called it Requirements of New Level of Leadership, which was to build collective, interdependent teams, involve people and gain their personal commitment, help people initiate change and communicate well, generate new ideas and directions, develop professional innovators, develop strength between units and among peers, create and maintain interpersonal relationships, and build good followers and cope with change. Firstly, I formulated, prepared, and carefully developed human resource policies and procedures. Secondly, I established a training and development department with specific responsibilities to conduct proper training needs analysis, plan and organize appropriate training plans for the people of all levels, and keep appraising the progress of the people who have been trained. Thirdly, I convened a conference of all managers to explain my objectives, plans, and strategies. My fourth action was to ask an independent job evaluation team to conduct job evaluation of the positions and posts that people held to establish a proper hierarchical structure with acceptable remuneration system for the entire enterprise. Then I carefully guided and managed all these innovations, making sure that the managers and the workers realized that I was actively involved in bringing about the needed changes to better the positions of every worker for the betterment of the enterprise. The results and progress of all these innovative ideas began to pay us good dividends, and I was pleased to regularly present the continuous reports to the members of the board of directors, who were also encouraged to participate in the progress of moving around the locations to meet and discuss things with the people. After the annual appraisal of all innovative moves and activities, we were happy that we were able to bring about and establish a happy workforce that was ready and motivated for the needed progress, profitability, and effective performance of the enterprise. I worked for the enterprise for 10 years to strengthen, reorganize, and improve the retail, wholesale, transport, manufacturing, food processing department, and various hotels and restaurants. As against the previous job dissatisfaction and inadequate managerial as well as administrative practices, procedures, and systems, together we were able to bring happiness and satisfaction among the people who became loyal to the enterprise to put in the best and peak performance at all times. As against the occurrences of previous frequent dismissals, terminations, resignation, and poor performance, we made it possible to stop all those through our brilliant teamwork, proper and regular training and development programs, and management by objectives and management by wandering around practices and procedures. On my recruitment from this 1,000+ enterprise, I was fully satisfied that we had developed a well-trained team to carry on with the system and make them even better as time went by. The enterprise has now not only become one of the best retail, wholesale, and food processing organizations in the country, but they have ventured in a few similar offshore ventures. I still visit them as honorary consultant to motivate the people and witness the progress of the organization. My concluding remarks. If we are going to discuss the proper contribution and management of people and their activities that enable us to make our enterprises flourish, then our discussion could be endless. Because of the 6 billion people in this world, many are unemployed, many are unemployable, and only some are employed. Those who are employed should be happy, be satisfied, have reasonably good understanding of the systems and procedures at work, be able to have good attitude, be motivated, and show some loyalty to the organization they work for before they can effectively contribute to make their organizations productive and profitable. It therefore becomes the responsibility of the leaders who manage them or the employers who employ them to play a very vital role in setting the tone of the workplace environment to have an advantageous impact on the happiness of the employees to make our own enterprises happy and progressive. Finally, we all spend many hours with our employees or have great moments of contact with them, but I believe it is always worth our effort to simply exchange some warmth and affection, because that is all our work should be all about. Therefore, I leave you with these questions and thoughts. Are we up to date with self-renewal and have workable plans for renewing the skills of our people? Have we got courage to change and initiative to continue changing? I learned very early in my work life that the fear of change is our greatest enemy. Not only fear of change for new technologies, but fear of or to discontinue obsolete and unworkable systems. Are we going to become better leaders of our people and improve our qualities and skills to manage them even better? If we do, then we would let our people rise above and beyond the limits of their capabilities. I think I've been able to display that on the one hand, innovation is a solitary process that requires creativity and genius, and maybe greatness on our part. But in the final analysis, it is a process of teamwork. Although innovation is born from individual greatness, it should spread like fire within the enterprise if handled systematically and with care and control. Our business and work lives are not attached to a particular location or tied to a post, but they are multiple journeys to take us to various destinations from where we can gather ideas, and renew our words, actions, thoughts, character, and hearts. Let me finish my conclusion with my favorite topic. Lack of initiative, morale, and motivation quickly becomes our limitation. But there are always ways to overcome these through our efforts to motivate the unmotivated. Having worked in the various fields in 4 different countries, like many of my colleagues, I was often faced with great opportunities which were brilliantly disguised as impossible. Having worked in various fields in 4 different countries, like many of my colleagues, I was often faced with great opportunities which were brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. But with tact, perseverance, and intuition, I managed to overcome many of these impossible situations to turn them to my advantage. What was necessary for me, obviously, was my specific and appropriate knowledge in those fields I was working in. But my greatest success and financial rewards came to me from my abilities to express my ideas, to assume leadership when called upon, and to arouse enthusiasm and cooperation for my people who worked for me. Thus, together, we were able to bring out the best in us. Let me stress this with the story of 4 important people around us. They are none other than everybody, somebody, anybody, nobody. My people made me believe that wisdom can only be planted, nurtured, and harvested, but cannot be manufactured. In fact, one of my managers told me that there is no future in any job. The future lies in the wisdom of the person who holds the job. Therefore, good morale is critical to every organization because no matter how capable the people are, but when the morale sags, so does performance. My book, Motivating the Unmotivated, can give us some help to move towards my 6th discipline of practice makes us almost perfect. Thank you for your attention and excuse me if my ways and methods do not fit into your system. I hope they will inspire you to continue your discussion to improve the management of our precious asset we call human resource. Thank you very much.